492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird, Limbird Real Estate Group, has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours, or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at LimbirdTeam.com. LIMBIRD.
I know we're always on the go, heading to Fayetteville, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, and you need a place to fill up. But not just for gas. I need snacks, drinks, and a restroom that doesn't make me throw up. That's why my new favorite pit stop is Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue on the way out of town. I can't stop by without getting something from their hot box or a fresh-made burger. That's Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith.
The best things in life never change. They just get better, like Hardee's Original Bag, just $6.99. Loaded with fries, a drink, and 2 full-size favorites. A juicy charbroiled double cheeseburger, melty hot ham and cheese sandwich, or crispy hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Choose any 2 plus fries and a drink, all only $6.99. Hardee's Original Bag, loaded with handcrafted goodness. It's the greatest meal deal for your buck. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Tonight, a mainly clear to partly cloudy sky. Overnight lows will drop down into the low 60s north, upper 60s south. Sunshine, a high in the low to mid 80s Tuesday. Tuesday night, mainly clear and overnight low near 60. And then Wednesday, back to sunshine, a high in the low to mid 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. Bonus. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 9 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got to take it here. That's the perspective. If I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Take it to the house. The dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
One Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Good morning and welcome in halftime on this sunny Tuesday across the state of Arkansas. Great to be with you on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com, the Hit That Line Now app. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, got Seaburger Unit with us in the producer's chair today. And good to be with you on a Tuesday. Matt, good morning. 9 days to kickoff. I know number 9. I know one number 9, so you want to, I don't know if you pick another one, but as far as I'm concerned, that's the only one I need today.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, there's a lot of number 9s out there. Zlatan Ibrahimovic comes to mind. The first one that always comes to mind with me is the Olympic MJ. You know, that's the one that's always there.
That one will work. And I'd forgotten the number. I'd literally forgotten the number that he wore with the Dream Team. It's also National Radio Day, so we can kind of celebrate ourselves here, or at least our industry and our massive influence upon the listening audience and everything else that goes on in a tertiary sense to sports. So, hey, I've been doing this is like the only thing I can imagine doing, truthfully, other than maybe getting up on stage as as an actor. I don't know if I'd be able to do stand-up too much, but if you give me a script, I might have been able to pull that off at one point.
Make it your own.
Maybe.
Hey, I'm with you, Phil. This is like the coolest gig that you know when you're younger and you think, what am I going to do? And it's like, hey, we can do this. How cool is this, man? It's pretty cool.
Well, it literally is a dream come true for me. The ability to get on the radio and talk sports. I mean, I got into it for calling baseball games specifically. That's what drew me into radio at first. But I was kind of lucky of being close to my parents being close to people that were involved with radio. So the Pirates radio station, KDKA, old 1020 AM in Pittsburgh. Man, I must have been one of the only 8-year-olds that was listening to the morning news program because my father was on the show too. So 2 times a week he would do the sports commentaries. So it's proud to be able to do something like this. The talk radio aspect is the newer thing for me. I've only been doing this for 6 years, almost exactly 6 years now. It's more the baseball play-by-play, which felt like it was kind of clockwork to me. And it's a little bit different preparing for 3 hours a day when there's not a game in front of you. And the game is always the thing when you're tuning into a game broadcast. For a show, it's the personalities that are the thing. You and me are the reason people are tuning in, Matt. No other reasons. Yeah, not scary at all, right? Entertain people.
Woo. Are you not entertained?
That's right. So I was reading today, general managers have been a thing in sports for going on close to 100 years. I was reading about the first ever general manager, or somebody that was referred to a general manager, which was a fellow named Billy Evans, 1927. Cleveland Indians had a general manager. Mostly back in the day, it was the owners that would make all of these decisions. I don't know when the first football general manager was crowned as real GM, but this is, general managers have basically been running professional sports franchises for going about 100 years now. It is a new term in college sports. The general manager of a college sports entity is the athletics director. It's a big job. Maybe it's bigger than a general manager's job, I think, when it comes right down to it. For a professional team, you got one team to worry about, and an athletics director has, 14, 15? Some of them have 35 sports to worry about. But we also appreciate the idea that the athletics director is the general manager. The term general manager now in individual teams across the college sports landscape, that's something that's been popping up of late. And I was reading about Courtney Morgan, who was the Washington football general manager for 2 years under Kalen DeBoer, and then moved with him to Alabama, but was getting courted by USC, by Lincoln Riley, so that he might work for the Trojans as the president of football, unquote, which I assume is the same idea as what the general manager is. And they have, in order to keep Morgan there in Tuscaloosa, they have given him a contract that's 3 years long that will average $825,000 per year. And when I hear the term, Matt, general manager, I'm figuring that's somebody that runs the program, that runs things, dollars and cents, contracts, setting practice schedules, that sort of thing in some ways. But to me, not every program has a general manager. You look on the Arkansas roster and you click on coaching staff and you look at the support staff. There is a director of football operations. You have a chief of staff, but nobody that is a general manager. And that's a chunk of change to be paying somebody to be a GM, a lot of money. And you figure who else is making $825,000 on a football staff? Well, the head coach is making a lot more than that. The 2 coordinators in the SEC are making more than that. But
the quarterback.
Well, I was just looking at coaches, but you're right, too.
Yeah.
You are right. There might be a couple of position coaches that are making close to that, but that's right there. I mean, you're talking about a sport now, and really not just a sport, but an industry that is trying to find a way to make room for $20 to $22 million a year just to pay the athletes to play football. And here's a big chunk right here. $825,000 may get you a halfway decent quarterback, Matt, but it also here gets somebody that's a general manager who is working for the coach. Like, to me, that's a big difference. Professional general manager, who is he working for? He's working for the owner. He has that person has his or her budget set by the owner. Who is the general manager of a college football team working for? He's working for the coach. The athletics director too, but in the chain of command, that's the first person he's working for is the coach. So the coach is still the GM in that case, right?
Well, it's you want to be in cahoots. You want to be hand in hand, your GM and your coach. It's kind of like there's a 1,000-piece puzzle and you got to put it together. You know, it's the physicality of the players, the attitude, the talent, the work ethic. You're deciphering all this, and it might just be a little interaction, but then you're always watching practice. You're always evaluating talent. It's got to be, we talk about the radio job. I think the GM jobs might be the coolest job out there because you're almost the Wizard of Oz. You're behind the scenes. Nobody really talks about you unless you do good. Like nobody, because it goes to the coach, like you just said. Everything's directed to the coach. But a good GM can go a long ways. And even in basketball, it's weird because basketball, we say it's a good GM because he went out and got the best player to come. You go get in football, it doesn't work that way. I think it's a little more attention to detail. Not that there's not credibility in putting together a basketball team. I'm not saying that, but football, man, offense, defense, there's other things that happen that you can't control. The chaos aspect of it. But it's a tough gig. But if you're pretty good at it, there's value there. If you can evaluate, some people, they see talent. We have guests that come on this show and we'll talk players and stuff, and they see talent and they see it a totally different way than we see it or I see it. And you're just like, ugh. So that goes to the whole spectrum of all these teams. They're evaluating talent, and some of them they might grade you a little bit different than they grade somebody else.
No, I was thinking about what a general manager does for a college team compared to professional, and I think this is the person that Mike Gundy was kind of referring to. Not the agents, not stop call. Hey, agents, stop calling. It's not about negotiating any more money now. We'll worry about that in December. The way that he was talking to made it seem like he's the one who's got to take those phone calls. The same as Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops is spending 3/4 of his time raising NIL funds. Then I don't know if he's got somebody to deal with those negotiations coming from agents or the ever inquisitive parent that might check in. That's who I think Gundy is talking about, although it didn't seem like he's got somebody to answer that phone necessarily. I'm sure there is somebody that is dealing with that for him, but then he's got to go to him and answer those questions. You wouldn't have a general manager in college football, Matt, if you did not have players being paid NIL, thinking that they're worth maybe more. I mean, if you're starting to get paid, you're looking at potentially what everybody else might be getting paid and trying to increase upon that. So this is like the person, and I'm guessing here with Courtney Morgan because I don't know what else a general manager is going to be doing. Talent acquisition is part of it. That's got to be the same thing between college and pros. And nobody here needs a primer on the differences in talent acquisition in college and pros. We're talking apples and oranges. It's got to be taking the calls. It's got to be talking to the agents. It's got to be talking agents off a ledge about somebody trying to transfer or telling them, you know what you think this guy is worth, he ain't worth that right now. It seems like be a pretty big job for a sport right now, Matt, that is kind of run on NIL.
Man, it'd be a cool job. I think of the best GMs. I think of Jerry West, the late great, that just went on to the other side. Pat Riley's up there. When you think football, Phil, who do you think are some of the? Andy Reid comes to mind as far as whoever is in his. But because you have a head coach GM, I don't even know who his GM is. And you think Belichick. You start thinking teams that get together and have sustainability. You look at John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco.
Sure.
I don't know if John Lynch is still there. I think he is still there.
I think he is.
But then I think even the Pittsburgh Steelers got to be in that list. There's a handful of GMs, and I do think they work really well with your head coach. If you're not on the same the same page with your head coach and GM, then I just think that's what's going on in Dallas a lot. You know, you look back at it and it's like they're never on the same page. It's like got to be on the same page, GM, head coach, if you want to have this thing going the right way.
The thing is that every professional team has a general manager. All of them have somebody that has that title. Not all the college teams do. And it feels to me like it's the richest ones, or maybe the ones that are dealing with the agents calling in mostly, that need somebody to take some of that pressure or all of that pressure off the coach so the coach can coach, which if you listen to Mark Stoops, he's not able to do too much coaching. At least that's what it sounded like to me.
You're going to have to get some type of players union. There's going to have to be some type of umbrella that this is all under, and that it's just all come to fruition so quick, so fast. It's the Wild West. They're making it up as they go, throwing things to see if it sticks. I mean, it's a complete mess, but you're going to have to protect these players and have some type of union or some type of umbrella coverage for them. But I think that won't happen, Phil, to your point that you brought up 2 years ago. That'll happen when football becomes its own entity and breaks away. Then you'll have some type of players union.
Here's halftime for this Tuesday. We'll be talking Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio 115. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation stops by in about an hour. And after this break, we're talking with SEC Network's Tom Hart. College football now 9 days away, and Tom's always on the call for the weekend. Stay with halftime. Tom Hart joins us in just a moment.
They were so convincing in their argument, they swung me.
This is halftime.
We'd like our program to reflect our state, the great state of Arkansas. Loyal, tough, hard-working. One of our goals every year is to make the state of Arkansas proud of the football team. In my office is a sign that says you're not coming to play for the University of Arkansas, you're coming to play for the state of Arkansas.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Ty Richardson live at Hardee's. We're at the Rogers Avenue location today as we're getting ready for this Saturday, the 19th annual Football Trip of a Lifetime contest from 1 to 3. We've got the high stools geared up, ready to go, plus, of course, the big dogs ready to take down some monster burgers. Folks, we've got 14 people already qualified and a handful more spots for you. Do you have what it takes to win Dallas Cowboy and Philadelphia Eagle tickets? Well, if you think you do, listen, we've had a lot of people join the contest because of the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium being a part. Here's some excitement driving by again. We're on Rogers Avenue at Hardee's. It is in the heart of downtown Fort Smith. So come on by and see us. Going to be here till 1 o'clock today. Your chance to qualify for the 19th annual Football Trip of a Lifetime from Hardee's and ESPN Arkansas.
Pay attention. This happens fast.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas. More than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Eve from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This
seems to be
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Headed to our hotline on a Tuesday morning and a chance to talk with Tom Hart from SEC Network. Appreciate his time today. Tom, how are you?
Gentlemen, I'm fantastic. Every day we get closer to college football, I'm even better. So here we go.
9 days away. Do you know your first assignment? You know the first game you got?
Yeah, our crew will be in Lexington for Southern Miss and Kentucky that opening weekend. And then I believe we go to Norman week 2, although that's certainly not official and still waiting on that. But I'm looking forward to that, anticipating our first trip to OU.
It's got to be nice knowing the exact kickoff. Well, not the exact, but the general kickoff times of these games instead of waiting a couple weeks. It's the first year that ESPN has everything going on in the SEC, and it worked really nicely because it's the 10-year anniversary of the SEC Network, which felt like that network, I think, changed college sports. It certainly changed the SEC, Tom, because it's the same time that I've been with Arkansas for 10 years. And in these 10 years, I mean, I've seen so much construction on athletic campuses. Of course, you know, salaries go along with this, but you know, this network has been such I think, a positive force for this league and college sports overall. And it was kind of fun to celebrate it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, before I came to ESPN, and I was there a couple of years before the network launched, I spent 2 years at the Big Ten Network, and that was into Big Ten Network's launch. It was a few years in. And so when we launched the SEC Network, I told folks in the conference, and I told folks at ESPN, I said, listen, if this is comparable to what the Big Ten did, I think the biggest growth you're going to see, obviously football is going to continue to grow. Men's basketball will continue to be a monster. But the growth that I saw in the Big Ten was replicated in the SEC. Across the board, facilities improvements with the extra money, and primarily to some places that hadn't gotten it. You know, Purdue, for example, built a brand new baseball stadium, right? You wouldn't think of Purdue spending money on baseball. Illinois and Iowa redid their basketball arenas, this, that, and the other. But what I was also aware of, hyperware coming from Big Ten Network, is, listen, the attention that will now fall on individuals within football programs, quarterbacks especially. I mean, they got the spotlight from day one. It didn't matter if you were a Heisman contender or a starter at Vanderbilt. You found yourself on TV more than you were ever asked to be on all these studio shows. But primarily sports like baseball, softball, women's gymnastics, women's basketball. I think the growth in this league can be pointed back towards that because those are sports that once people were exposed to them, they found that they really enjoyed them.
Hey, Todd, or Tom, I'm sorry. I want to ask you a question about Texas A&M's new coordinator, Colin Klein, coming from Kansas State. And a lot of talk about Bobby Petrino coming to Arkansas and being a great hire. How do you see that fit, him going down to Texas A&M? And how do you see Texas A&M this year?
Well, Matt, it's an interesting question because I covered Kansas State in the bowl game a couple years ago, and I remember Colin as a player. And when you meet him in person, he's kind of exactly what you would imagine. He's no nonsense, blue collar, football dude. And I mean that respectfully. And I think his offenses are a reflection of that. For example, he loves using the tight end. He loves being a team that can establish the run and have success on the ground. He was a great quarterback when he played at Kansas State. So to leave his alma mater was a major move. Of course, anybody gets a chance to coach at a place like Texas A&M with the money and the resources and recruiting they've had in years past. It's a no-brainer. So that's certainly a step up. I think they're really good at some positions. I think Connor Wegman, when healthy, is an elite quarterback. I mean, he's got the arm strength to win big games. He's got the arm strength to win big games against favorite opponents. And I think the wide receiver core, while inconsistent over the last couple of years, especially based on, and this is reflective of the whole program, right? Based on the talent level there, they should have been much better than they have been. And you could say the same thing specifically about the wide receiver core, but I think they got better there. And I think the offensive line is improved. So I think they're going to be a good offense. The question is, look who you're going against week in and week out in this league. And as great as a defensive coordinator as Elko has been at his previous stops, including having a top 10 defense when he was at A&M under Jimbo, I think to find consistency with an offense that has potential is probably the hardest thing to do it week in and week out based on the talent that you'll see in the NFL talent on the other side of this league.
See, that's where I am with Arkansas, and I don't know if you've heard, but they hired a new offensive coordinator too.
Wait, really? Has he been in the league before?
He's been in the league before, and it does lead to some fun jokes when Sam Pittman mentioned it at the Little Rock Touchdown Club yesterday.
Y'all know I hired Bobby Petrino or no? It wasn't a very popular move in the state, and I'm going, damn, I should have hired somebody they wanted,
Jerome Tang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so, all right, based on his hire and really not just the hire, it's who they've brought in on offensive line, who they brought in at running back. I think on the defensive side too, I think this is an Arkansas team that on paper is better than a 4-8 record last year. And to your point that you just mentioned about A&M, I still don't know what that means against the rest of the league and against the rest of their schedule, which is as difficult as just about anybody's, even Florida's. 7 teams in the top 20. They got to go to Stillwater. This is a really difficult schedule. So, I think it's an improved Arkansas team, but that's also relative to who it is that they're playing. I think this year's schedule is tougher than last year.
Yeah, 10-win Oklahoma State team that returns maybe the best running back in the country, close to it, and a coach in a program that always has a chip on its shoulder. I think that Arkansas can relate to, but certainly Oklahoma State with OU moving on to the SEC probably feels they have something to prove. I think the biggest advantage in the weeds of hiring Bobby Petrino, we know the obvious advantages that brings from the quarterback perspective, just running RPOs that are successful in this league against NFL caliber defensive lines gives you a fighting chance. I love what they did at quarterback. I thought KJ Jefferson was serviceable but inconsistent, and I think that's an upgrade at quarterback, especially with Taylor Green's running threat. And we've seen what Petrino can do with running quarterbacks, obviously. But I think the biggest thing is you've got to be better up front, especially on the offensive line, and that is where Sam Pittman takes the utmost pride. And with the offensive line coach shuffles that they went through over the last few years, especially, losing a guy late that really put him behind the 8 ball, I think that was 3 years ago, that now Sam can focus a little bit more on how to get right up front. And as personable as Sam Pittman is, it is a challenge to be a head coach in this league with all of the extracurricular polls that you have. And that is now expanded exponentially, right? I mean, I was just told the other day that LSU finished its scrimmage, using them as an example, on Saturday, and they went immediately into a meeting with the biggest donors to try and get more money and say we need more commitment. That's something that coaches, and you've heard Mark Stoops complain about his role in Kentucky doing the same thing, and Sam's been asked to do the same thing. In fact, he was a great participant at our college football seminar in Bristol a couple of weeks ago via Zoom, and talked about some of those demands. I think the demands are greater than they've ever been on those head coaches. So having Petrino there to now take over fully and give him confidence on the offensive side of the ball that, okay, I'm going to go down and see how the O-line's doing. I'm going to make sure that they know that they're a priority, and I can handle some of this other stuff that falls on the head coach's plate. I think that is a major advantage to where Sam is in his career right now and where Arkansas strives to be.
Tom, I'm a big fan of Travis Williams. I think he'll be a head coach by 2028 if he wants to be. What's the expectations, realistic expectations? You know, if the offense is a little better, the defense should be a little better. But what do you think his realistic expectations for year 2 is?
I mean, there's so many pieces lost, right? I mean, and I think that always puts coordinators in a really tough position. And because the first thing that I see is you can talk about, you know, the loss of Chris Paul and watching him have success, you know, with another team, or Jaheim Thomas, and okay, how do we replace those guys? But in my mind, where it impacts you the most is depth. And even if you fill in behind with other transfers and you pick up key guys, one injury puts you in a really bad spot. You know, once again, I go back as a comp to where LSU ended up defensively last year. It didn't matter that they had a Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-rounders at wide receiver, and they may have the first overall pick at left tackle coming into this year's draft. The bottom line was LSU's defense was abysmal because they were beset by injuries, and they had no depth, and they never got it straightened out, and that can just derail a team. So as good as Travis may be, the focus, I think, is building depth and making sure that you can get through this SEC season and be as strong in, you know, on November 16th when Texas comes to town as you are September 14th when UAB comes to town, or when you go to Auburn. And I think that's a huge challenge in this day and age where you lose key players that have been in your program and they walk right out the door and they go down the street within the conference.
So, Matt, you remember when I was in Kentucky for the baseball series, and got hooked up with the other Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio, and he did, you know, he was incredibly nice to me, gave me that restaurant to just do the show at, but he had me on his show for a segment, didn't ask me a thing about baseball. All he wanted to talk about was John Calipari. So Tom Hart, Matt Jones went on a long vacation over the summer. He had a bunch of guests come in and host the show. Tom was one of them. Tom, I'm sure that was fun, and you know what you're doing with talk radio. Is Kentucky ever going to let go of the Calipari thing to the point where, you know, they won't always just have some sort of comeback with any excitement that Arkansas fans have about the basketball program? Because I'm sure it had to come up, because if Kentucky sports is being talked about now, even though they got a head coach, I'm still assuming that Coach Cal's name comes up every once in a while.
Oh my gosh, of course, yeah. I had a blast filling in for those guys, but I got distracted one day. We were talking. This is kind of, you'll know this, Phil, because of that show. It's not all sports. So we talked with a retired Secret Service agent about what went wrong in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. We had 12 minutes of incredible radio where this guy walked us through what they should have done and what they didn't do. I mean, it was amazing insight. But it all got derailed when the mail showed up at their restaurant, and Tyson delivered Arkansas chicken nuggets.
Oh, you were there for that. We saw the photos of it.
Yeah. And I was like, hold on, you guys were having this incredible conversation that I think people are, and they're like, no, we got these Razorback shaped nuggets that just got delivered. And it was like, you know, your dog when a butterfly goes, or a squirrel comes through the front yard, or a kid sees a butterfly, they were off and running. if you would have told any Kentucky fan, whether it be 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that Mark Stoops would have outlasted John Calipari, they would have thought you were drinking all the bourbon in the Commonwealth. Now, it almost didn't happen because Stoops was on a plane to A&M and very nearly got that job before Cal left for Arkansas. But, his tenure there will always bring mixed reactions. And what I keep telling people in that state is that it is a really hard job, and John Calipari was the perfect guy for it. And Arkansas is very similar in that when Kentucky doesn't matter if the program's good or not. You're the most visible person in the state. For Arkansas, as long as they're winning, I feel it's just a hair behind, right? I mean, we know what the support is when that team is winning and what it can be like, and how Bud Walton can absolutely rock, whether it's a win against Auburn that I was there for a couple of years ago and they knocked down number one, or the Duke game last year. We know how good it can be. I think Cal proved to a lot of people right off the bat that when he hit the ground running and pulled in a couple of five-star guys, that, listen, I didn't have to leave. I chose to leave. And I didn't lose my fastball when it comes to recruiting. It doesn't matter what polo I'm wearing. It doesn't matter if I'm at UMass or Memphis or Lexington or Arkansas. I can still recruit the best players in the country. I'm thrilled about it, man. I mean, I've been covering him since he was at Memphis, and I used to go to their practices and got to know the coaching staff really well back when, Derrick Rose was running around as a freshman, was in their locker room after the Final Four win that they had before they lost to Kansas. So Cal and I go a long way back, and especially with some of the guys on his staff. I can't wait to see. I've always said, guys, that SEC basketball is at its best when Arkansas is at its best. Kentucky will always have a national fan following. Alabama's really good under Nate Oates. Auburn's really good under Bruce Pearl. It's just different when it's the biggest show in the state, and it matters to everybody in that state and all of the alums all over that care about Arkansas sports. Basketball just hits different down there.
Tom, we're up against it, so we'll leave it there. I appreciate you making time for us, and we're looking forward to the start of the season and catching you and your crew. You guys do great work as always.
Oh, great to be with you guys. I want to see Matt run a 40. I need to know what that modern time is.
40 at 40. He could still run it too. I'm going to tell you, he probably still could. Give him a couple weeks. He'll race Noah Lyles. Appreciate you, Tom. It's Tom Hart, SEC Network, with us today. 877-377-6963. If you want to get with us after the break, we'll be right back in just a moment.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a fourth-generation family-owned business taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Checking back in at Hardee's. We're at the Rogers Avenue location in the heart of downtown Fort Smith. Folks, come by and see us. You got a chance for your final qualifier this week. You know what, Dwayne, might be nice. We might have one more on Thursday, but if you want something for sure, if you want a sure thing, then you got to come by and see if you can eat a monster burger. 150 seconds or less, and you're qualified for that annual contest, it's here, folks. It's this Saturday at the Phoenix Avenue location. We got high schools coming. We got coaches. We got players. Big dogs as well. So if you want to be one of those select few that are competing, you got 14 qualifiers already. If you want to be number 15 or 16 or 17, then you got to come by and see me today. Hardee's at the Rogers Avenue location in Fort Smith. Your final chance to qualify for nearly 20 years, 19th year, the annual football trip of a lifetime contest.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey & Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey & Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit kevinhickeylaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey & Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
So Tom jokingly, I don't know, he was joking about it there, Matt. Wants to see you race a run a 40.
40's at 40, yeah.
What was the quickest time that you remember you ran?
Oh, a lot of 4.41s, a lot of that combine was the last one I ran. That was a time that was 4.37. That was electronic, but what was it? My junior year in high school, everywhere, it's 4.4. So that was just kind of normal. I don't know any other way.
Did you ever race a teammate? I mean, I'm sure there was.
At Oklahoma State, Bob Simmons was the coach, and we were getting together where I was a junior in high school going into your senior year, so it was that summer, and you're kind of matching up and racing against people, and ran a 40, and Coach Simmons said, hey, I don't know if he called me Jones or what he said, or Razorback or Van Buren, that's kind of, everybody calls you something else.
That's your
and
name.
He said, Andale, he's like, come over here. And he said, you don't worry about doing anything else the rest of the day. We're offering you a scholarship. That was after I ran 140. He's like, yeah, if you're 6'6" and run a 4.4, it's kind of
the road is put out there for you.
Whatever, You
don't have to be Willie Mays Hayes jumping over the fence in your pajamas
when you're
Racing
5'9",
barefoot down the baseline.
Yeah, you know, if you're 6'6" and run a 4.6, you're good. You know, when you're 5'11" and you run a 4.7, then it's kind of, well, yeah, everybody can do that. Yeah.
I just wondered what you made of this Noah Lyles versus the world thing. It's you know, I mean, can Tyreek Hill really beat Noah Lyles in a 100 meter? I mean, let's be honest about this here. Lyles has a personal best of 9.79 in the 100 meters. Did that in Paris for gold. He also holds the American record in the 200 meters. And as fast as Tyreek Hill is, and maybe he is the fastest guy in the NFL, his speeds are not near that. So, well, I can understand, though, professional athletes with teams feel like Lyles is going maybe a little bit far with this whole world champion thing. And heck, I mean, he even admitted to Shannon Sharp on his podcast, he doesn't even know who Nikola Jokic is. So, you know, if you're not paying attention to at least the best basketball player in the world right now, or at least don't know who that is, you know, no wonder he's not going to respect something that we refer to as a world champion, but we know full well what that really means.
Competitors compete. I'll tell you that. Absolutely 0% chance that Tyreek Hill could beat Noah Lyles. It's a different. It's like when you see these guys that they play some type of sport their whole life, and they go, you know what? I think I'm going to get into boxing because I'm a bad mom, and they get into boxing, and it does not last very long. No, absolutely not. It's cute. It's funny. It's like, yeah, I get it, Tyreek Hill. You're the ultimate competitor. 0.0 chance.
Do you remember Willie Gault? Willie Gault was probably the fastest player in the NFL in the 80s. Came out of Tennessee, and he ran track at Tennessee, was a member of the U.S. Olympic team the year that the Americans boycotted the Moscow Olympics, 1980, so he never really got a chance to show what he could do on the world stage in the Olympics, but he was successful running track 4x100. He won I think he helped set a world record. I mean, right there is somebody that was able to do both of those things at once. He was also on the 85 Bears. He was one of the top receivers.
The receiver from the Cowboys, was he an Olympian as well? For some reason, I thought he might have been Bob Hayes. That he might have been as well. And the thing, Phil, is Noah Lyles 100% would beat him in a foot race, but Tyreek Hill's the better athlete. You know, everything else, it's eye-hand coordination and move and wiggle and.
Well, think about like we would talk about Malik Hornsby.
Right.
All that great straight line speed, but didn't really know what to do with it as far as any sort of horizontal move.
Put Malik Hornsby in the 400-meter hurdles, and he probably could have represented the country. Like if he wanted, like that's the type of speed he had. Yeah.
Lyles is, and I love watching him race because I mean he's exciting, but it also feels like it's the sort of thing of somebody that's grabbing the glory that he just got and earned. And also knowing full well that, you know, people don't remember the gold medalists very much over the next 3 years. Like, and I don't mean that with any insult at all, because we talked a lot of Olympics for the 2 weeks that was happening, but it falls off the radar.
Well, the thing that's you're exactly right. We do it for the Olympics. You know who won the last 100 meter at the 2023 World Championship? Exactly. Do you know who's going? We don't even know who wins the 100 meters in the World Championships. We don't pay attention to it, but the Olympics bring it all to light, and I think it's pretty cool. It was the Italian that got 8th in the finals this Olympics. He won at the last Olympics, and nobody can even say his name.
That's right. 877-377-6963 when you want to get with us on that or anything else. Don't forget what's going on at Joe's Grill and Cantina today. It is Taco Tuesday, so you get $1 off all crispy tacos all day long. $2.95 for the pork carnita tacos, $3.95 for pork belly or brisket tacos. That is all day long at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Tomorrow you get $1 off all beers, $1 off all nachos. And once football season starts, make your plans to be at Joe's Grill and Cantina because they're going to have football on every screen. Best Tex-Mex and better service. You can visit them at 3400 South 74th, right across from Harps. Put it in order online at joesfortsmith.com. Back to wrap up our first hour right after this.
This is halftime.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Todd Richardson back here at Hardee's. Really appreciate Rowdy and Jason stopping by. Now, congrats to Rowdy. He qualified. Jason just came up just short at the Hardee's Rogers Avenue location here in Fort Smith. Rowdy qualified for the football trip of a lifetime contest last year, and Jason might try and give it another whirl down the road at some point. But hey, we only got about hour 15 or so for you to qualify. What do you do to qualify? Eat a Monster Burger, 150 seconds or less. And you're in for the contest this Saturday from 1 to 3 at Hardee's on Phoenix Avenue, still in Fort Smith. And you got a chance to win these Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles tickets in AT&T Stadium. Again, only another hour or so for your chance to qualify. Thanks to Dwayne and his team at Hardee's. Come on by and see us again. We're at the Rogers Avenue Hardee's location in Fort Smith. 19th Annual Football Trip of a Lifetime Contest.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Have you been to the River Valley's only multi-sport facility? Then let's hang out. The Hangout in Fort Smith is the only sports facility that offers indoor tennis and pickleball, indoor and outdoor basketball, and has now added multiple soccer fields. Soccer leagues are forming soon. Did you know the Hangout also has an 8,000 square foot fitness center with bar, yoga, HIIT, and Pilates classes? The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thehangoutfs.com. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Has your job been grinding your gears lately? Then let me tell you about Lavorne Lumber. They're looking to fill a regional over-the-road position. They use brand new equipment in your home every weekend. Don't think you're getting paid enough? That's not the case at Lavorne Lumber. They're highly competitive in that area. So if this sounds like a great next job opportunity for you, then stop by and see Pam and the Bills Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 at Lavorne Lumber. 515 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith and online at Lavorne, Lovvorn lumber.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
With your robing, well, you better check it out before it goes. Yeah. 'Cause you see it just the way you should, and you don't recognize what everybody.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
You're right, Bob Hayes, absolutely. Track star, football player. Darrell Green was, I don't know what he did professionally in track. I know what he did professionally as a cornerback, but he was a track champion at Texas A&I in the Lone Star Conference. So, I mean, if you're thinking of these sports, you know what equates any better than track and field, and we're thinking of the straight line speed and playing wide receiver or cornerback. Best athletes on the team, right?
Cornerbacks are, I believe so. I know when we have Clay Henry on, he says the SEC running back, and you can't really SEC running backs, they're tremendous athletes. The receiver game, I think, has upped. Receivers have always been athletes by nature. You have to be, but it seems like there's more of them. It seems like you better have 4 receivers. You better have 2 running backs. But back in the day, it's like if you had a tight end and 1 receiver and a couple running backs, you could run an offense. Now you got to have 3 receivers.
Got to have a tight end too.
And we got a good one. No, hey, Luke Hawes days away, right? We got a good one.
You caught that one. Oh, we got a question. Chris in Springdale wondered, did you choose number 9 or was that assigned to you? And I remember you said you had to have a number that was single digit, right?
Well, I was redshirting. I was going to redshirt, and Gerald Howard was number 5. Jalen Rose was. I always wanted to wear 5 because of Jalen Rose, Lamar Odom, and I was number 13. I was Thunder Dan Marino was the number, and Dow Loggins was 9, and then had a meeting with coach, and next thing I know, me and Dow switched jerseys, and then I was a single digit because that was kind of the. You know, when you're 18, you're like, yeah, I need a single digit, coach. You know, it's like, all right.
Seems to fit. By the way, I was reading about this because Tyreek Hill has taken part in track and field masters competition, which there is this thing for athletes 25 years of age and older, and international opportunities to compete if you are 35 and older. And there's even cross-country racing and road racing competition opportunities for 40 years of age and older. So get yourself back in running shape because competitors compete, and here's a chance to compete.
Not only would Noah Lyles beat Tyreek Hill, but every single track star that made the semifinals at the Olympics would beat Tyreek Hill.
I saw that his best time in the 200 would have finished last.
That's what I mean. It's every single track Olympian that made the semifinals, and I don't know what it takes in other countries. I know you got to have a certain time to qualify to get through there. It's just a different. And hey, I'm a Tyreek Hill fan. I thought he should have won MVP of the league last year. Might have if he wouldn't have got hurt. But it's just athletes. We like to talk. Athletes like to talk. I know LeBron James thinks he could play tight end in the NFL, and I don't know if he could now, but 10 years ago he could have.
I do wonder if Noah Lyles would have been a good base stealer. 90 feet is 27 meters. And that is straight line speed. Just got to know how to pick up, once the pitcher picks the foot up or just starts to make that motion to start your thing. The Athletics had, and this would have been in the 70s, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. They had a designated pinch runner, Matt, who didn't play a position and never batted. All he did was pinch run and steal bases. That was when I think Billy Martin was their manager, and he was all about running the bases, hit and run, stealing bases, that kind of thing. Nobody does that anymore, by the way, because you can't waste a roster spot on just base running.
That's what I was going to say. If you could have a roster spot for that, in the NFL, Phil, you really get 2 quarterbacks are up each game, but there's an alternate third that if one of the guys goes down and you want to move that third quarterback up, then what you can't do is put the other quarterback back in.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there was some way to do that, but that would be a poker card to have in your hand for the 8th inning, 7th inning, 9th inning when you're trying to get a run.
Herb Washington is the guy's name. Matt, he played in 105 games in the major leagues.
120 stolen bases.
He never got an at-bat. Not once did he ever have a plate appearance.
Even Moonlight Graham got an at-bat.
No, Moonlight Graham only played the field for a half inning.
I thought he was 0 for 1.
No, he never got a chance to hit.
In that Field of Dreams game, he does.
It's sad. But yeah, 105 games, 33 runs scored, all as a pinch runner. Nice way to make a living if you can run that fast. Stay with us. Our second hour of halftime coming up in a moment.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between two thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nuys work to give all of their patients a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5501 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farm. Now offering same-day crowns. 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Herod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the low to mid 80s. We end up with a clear sky overnight, low in the low 60s overnight. Wednesday, plenty of sunshine, a high in the low to mid 80s. Thursday, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures on Thursday, low 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Green Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 9 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com. You got a team in here. That's the perspective. Smith, I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah. Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
One Razorback is vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome back into our second hour. Halftime continues on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson along with Matt Jones. Kristen Johnston is producing today, and in about 15 minutes we'll be visiting with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation. Remember, we spoke with Alyssa a week ago, and she had just gotten off the plane from Paris. So, like, jet lag shouldn't last a week. I can understand 2 days, maybe 3, with all the work that she put in there across the pond, but I'm sure by now she's feeling a little bit better. And she should, too, because her Dodgers have the best record in Major League Baseball. You had a kid from Lake City? Lake City. Gavin Stone struck out 10 batters yesterday in another victory. Stone may end up getting some votes for Rookie of the Year, too. 11-5, 344 earned run average, kid that pitched at UCA. And I wonder what she thinks about this Tua Tagovailoa, Brian Flores deal, with the two of them kind of coming. It's not the two of them coming out against each other. It's more Tua having an honest moment. And, go ahead.
Do you think he wishes there's no reason to even bring that up anymore? Or was it so it's just somebody coaches a different style that you're not used to, and it's like, why are you being so negative all the time? Because you get that, there's different ways to reinforce, and being positive is definitely one of the ways. But what's the reason? As a player, quarterback speak is what I'm saying, Phil. During the season, the only thing you talk about is the task at hand. You don't bring up something about some outside noise. This feels like something that if you're going to bring up, you bring it up in the off season. There's no reason. He's not even a part of your staff right now. Why would his name even come out of your mouth?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's on a radio program that likes to gin that kind of stuff up. It was on Le Batard's podcast.
That's true.
And they're based in Miami, so I think they're kind of just revisiting some things about Tua's career. And when you got the benefit of 24 months of looking back on it, maybe there's some therapeutic aspects to it as well. But here's what Tua said about Brian Flores.
Can you explain to us the difference in practical terms between having a coach who did believe in you the way that he did, and the difference between that and what was happening with Flores?
Yeah. Well, to put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that. Like, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad, and you hear it more and more, you start to actually believe that. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the United States. You have a terrible person that's telling you things that you don't want to hear, or that you probably shouldn't be hearing. You're going to start to believe that about yourself.
Now, see, it's part of what I think hits more than anything. It is Tua using the term a terrible person to describe Flores in this case. Flores had a chance to also respond. He is the defensive coordinator at the Minnesota Vikings, and double check on where I've got his comment here. Here was his retort.
This is an interesting topic because it wasn't strained. We had a good relationship. It was a player-coach relationship, and I think in a relationship like that, the coach challenges the player, and oftentimes the player challenges the coach. And I think there was a great deal of respect between the two of us. So you hear these crazy this narrative that's out there. But this is a young man who works, who developed and got better over 2 years. And, I think he's got a bright future. I wish him all the best. So the world can think what it wants to think. I think that's to it.
It's interesting with the music playing in the background there. That was not me stroking the guitar or anything. I didn't hear respect coming from Tua, to be quite honest. You call somebody a terrible person, there's not a lot of respect that goes on there. And when they had the chance to meet after the Vikings and Dolphins played, I think it was last year, they did not shake hands on the field. Tua was asked about it. His simple answer was nope. And I don't think it's a narrative that's out there. It's Tua talking about what he felt his relationship was with Flores And it doesn't sound like Flores, understands that that's the way that his former quarterback felt.
Well, I think this is something that you brought up in the very first segment today, Phil, talking about GMs and the other staff. So that draft, Justin Herbert was the very next quarterback taken, and that's who Flores wanted. He didn't want Tua. So I think that's a little bit of that. And he's a defensive coach. Defensive coaches are a little different that way. You have to be tough and physical, and you kind of almost have to be a little mean. And it's a different vibe, a defensive side to an offensive side. So I think more than anything, he feels like if he would have got Justin Herbert, maybe he's still be the head coach at Miami. He didn't want Tua. That was part of it. I mean, I think that's what I was gathering out of that.
A lot of times, I don't think you get unvarnished truth from an athlete when you ask about the relationship with a coach, because I think that those relationships are complex. I've had some, and it's more baseball players, and it's not at Arkansas. I was in the minor leagues where they didn't have a single nice thing to say about their college coach. While at the same idea, understanding they probably wouldn't have been drafted by a major league organization if it were not for that coach taking a chance on him to play at that university. And then there's been other opportunities that a player looks back on what that relationship was like and thinks, you know what, this guy actually had my best success in his mind. He just went at it a different way. And you know what that's like, Matt, too, because you've got your dad's a coach, so sometimes it feels like there's a little extra meaning for why a coach is speaking to you in a certain way. Just like you remember the baseball head coach at Southeast Missouri that came in the regional this last year, and he played for Dave Van Horn at Nebraska for a year and barely played. He said Dave was hardest on him than anybody else, and he didn't realize why until the season's over, and Dave told him, I had to use you as an example so that the rest of these guys would follow me because you're a leader on this team. And then he helped him find a job. He didn't know about that while that was happening. He knew about it once the season ended, and Dave was doing that for a reason. So it just feels like it's a little more complex sometimes. Charlie's here with us. Charlie, good to hear from you today. Let's hear about your complex relationship. What's new?
Phil, don't open that door now. You know.
Realize what I did when I said it. Let's take it in a different direction. What sports would you like to speak about?
Well, it could be sports, but look, here's the deal. I agree with you guys on this Tua Flores thing. I think a lot of times too, Matt, and you've been involved in a lot of this stuff and been around the game. Phil, you have been around a long time too with a lot of this stuff. There's always two sides to it, right? And do you think kind of a lot of these relationships too with players and coaches that you feel like maybe are fractured or whatever, if you take both sides and you kind of meet in the middle, do you kind of think that's where they land? I mean, I've always felt that way. I mean, when Flores, said all those good things, but what was he really saying when he was there? I mean, I don't know. I mean, how did he make Tua feel when he was there? I guess we'll never know. But as you said, Matt, right, he wanted Herbert, correct? I mean, that was pretty much reported.
The other point, too, Matt, is how often had Brian Flores worked with a quarterback or actually had to speak with a quarterback in a way to try to motivate him? He's a defensive coach, like you'd said.
And Tua, he's an FCA guy, and he's a Hawaiian. I don't know how many Hawaiian Christians you've been around. They're soft-spoken, their attitude. And here's the other thing as a coach. You gotta understand that you can't coach everybody the same way. Everybody is not cut from the same cloth, and there was a disconnect there. And if you got it started off on the wrong foot because you didn't even want the guy, I think that's not really a recipe for success.
Matt, I think you hit it on the head. This feels like a thing where the coach felt, I'm going to build this guy up by breaking him down first, and I'm really going to break him down and make him think he sucks. But he didn't get a chance to build him up in that case because he only lasted, the first 2 years with him. And it doesn't work that way with everybody. That's the point of what you're getting at. It can't be a one-size-fits-all approach. Not everybody can be torn down and then built up.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys are right, absolutely. I think everybody's different nowadays, right? It's a different time period. I think, have you guys heard the Travis Williams thing on the 1-3 podcast he went on recently? I mean, he made a good point about that. I think just players nowadays feel better when you support them early on, kind of make it feel like that family-like atmosphere, and then when you're hard on them, they'll play hard for you. And so it's the other way. And back then it was probably a little bit more, okay, let's be hard on the guy, and, you know. So anyway, I just think you're right, Matt. Everybody's different. Anyways, y'all have a good one.
Charlie, appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, look, there were some managers I'd worked with in the minors. I thought to myself, is this guy just messing with me, or does he just want to give me a hard time? Or does he think this is the way that you communicate to a 22-year-old? Because he did the same with the players. And you come to realize, you know what? This is kind of how he talks to everybody. Sometimes a jerk is just a jerk. He's not. There's no other reason for him to talk like how he talks, because that's just who he is. But it's interesting with the back and forth. Tua's being maybe honest to a fault about it. And it sounds like Brian Flores has no clue, absolutely no clue, of how his words landed into his brain. Quick break on halftime. We're going to talk with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation right after this.
This is halftime.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Todd Richardson checking back in. We are at Hardee's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith as we're getting ready for the 19th Annual Football Trip of a Lifetime contest, which is this Saturday, the Phoenix Avenue location here in Fort Smith. But for now, for the next hour or so, we're going to be here at Hardee's till 1, and you've got a chance to win something big. Cowboys and Eagles tickets, folks. It's a big stinking deal. Jerry World, oh, yes, sir. NFC East matchup, yes, sir. Well, you got to qualify first before you enter the contest on Saturday. You do so, eat a Monster Burger, 150 seconds or less. Rowdy just did it today. We're up to 15 qualifiers right now. So if you want to be number 16, 17, or 18, you got to come by and see me. Going to be here till 1. Hardee's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. 19th Annual Football Trip of a Lifetime.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
It's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar.
Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swart Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swart Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swart Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in DeQueen, Arkansas. Swart Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Got Alyssa Orange with us here, as usual, on a Tuesday afternoon on Halftime. Alyssa, we always appreciate you talking with us, especially last week when you were just as drained as anybody, coming over from France, literally like 6 hours before you got on the show with us. So it's been a week. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I think I finally adjusted some. Got a little bit of a head cold last week, but I've kind of gotten over that too. So I feel like I'm ready to go, ready to get back into it. Now, Phil, I just got to figure out what's going on.
Right, yeah, there's the next question. Have you figured everything out going on in Razorback football land? Were you able to pack like 3 weeks of camp into 1 week of reading and watching videos and everything?
I've tried my best. To, I'm listening to post-practice interviews while I'm folding laundry and, running around in my car. I did go to practice on Friday. Like I said, I snuck in. They let me in. I was happy about that. But you can't really see much in the 15 minutes that we get over there. So I've got a lot more studying to do. So hopefully some Razorback fans can give me some grace.
Yeah, all right. Watching practice in 15 minutes. What is it you try to watch? Like, there's only so much you can focus on, but there's a lot going on at the same time in 15 minutes of practice, and you want to see everything.
Right. Well, you guys will probably laugh at me. I was just quizzing myself, honestly. There are so many new faces on this team that I'm just walking around practice and going, okay, number 10, Taylon Green. Okay, 16, Isaiah Tate. Like, I'm quizzing myself just to make sure that, like, I got to learn their names. I got to go, okay, put a name to a jersey number and just make sure that I'm good there. That's half the battle with so many new faces that, quite frankly, again, I'm getting introduced to for the first time this week in person. So I was doing a lot of that, and then I watched the quarterbacks throw a little bit. That's what I was able to get in.
How is the spirit? How is the vibe with people that you work with and people in the media? What are you thinking now? Is this team? Are you buying in? Is this team changed? Have we made the turn? Is it not going to be 4-8 again? Could it be closer to 8-4 this year?
Yeah, you know what's funny, Matt, is that my resident grumpy old man is the most optimistic person in our room.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know if I don't know if that's because he's covered this team for so long and he just feels something where he's like, I just feel something different with this team. Meanwhile, and understandably, last year for Jacob and Evan, it was their first year with Arkansas football. And then, of course, they went 4-8. And so it's hard for them, I think, to, they call it being a realist, to kind of see the difference. I haven't been around to really tell yet, but Mike is high on the Hogs. I think you guys have probably noticed a little bit of that when you've talked to him, and so it's kind of a little bit of a split house in our room right now. I might have to be the tiebreaker. I think Courtney's more on the optimistic side, covering her third football season. That it's like, okay, where are they now? And again, I've learned you just can't get too high or too low during fall camp. You just don't know. And I think there was so much hype around this team last year with KJ, and then there was so much disappointment with what happened with this team that you have to remember, okay, I can't really put a whole lot of stock with what I see in practice. I have to see a game first.
And from what you read too, I mean, you just and it's also got to be based on who it is that they're playing, right? So I think it's a better football team. I just don't know how it translates to the schedule that they play against, and the idea that a lot of those teams have probably gotten better as well. And I feel also another thing that we probably need to stop using the terminology realism for this, because I think people that say that they're realists are just impressed with their own ability to think. I would go with the idea if there's going to be optimism on one side, skepticism on the other side. It's not realism because you don't know what is real right now.
Right. I love that. I love that point. Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right with what you read and what you hear. You guys got to remember, viewers, listeners, that we're all seeing, every member of the media are seeing the exact same thing. There are none of us, except for Clay Henry, who got to watch all the practice on Friday, who got to see any more than any of us did. And so we all just have opinions based on the same exact things. And so it can't be that different except for your own personal feelings, right? And so you got to have to understand that what we're all seeing is the same, and how we feel about it is just based on our experience, the longevity of covering this team, our own thoughts about this team, and what have you. And we got to watch them play football first.
That's a
right.
Good,
we just have to watch them play football.
That's a good point. And I was going to ask you next, if you're looking at the schedule and you're saying, all right, when can we make this judgment, or when can we give a more real answer with more details and more information? Would it be September 21st, like going into Auburn, or would it be September 7th at Oklahoma State? And I'm not saying that we haven't had injuries or whatever, because we know other things are going to happen. But if we're seeing this team, that September 7th game against Oklahoma State, do you think then we could kind of make an evaluation and a proper opinion?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the September 21st game at Auburn, because I don't want to put too much on this team week 2 after week 1 is UAPB on a Thursday night, and you go to Oklahoma State, because I personally think you could go into Oklahoma State and you could look like an Arkansas football team resurrected and look great. And everyone is like, this is going to be awesome, and then it's not. And you could go into Oklahoma State and get your teeth punched in, but then you learn from that game, and you actually are better than what you thought you were week 2. I mean, you saw an Alabama team that lost to Texas and almost lost to UCF or USF last year, make it all the way to the college football playoffs. So you're not necessarily the team you are at the beginning of the year that you are at the end, but I think 4 weeks in, after that Auburn game, you've got a real idea of, okay, what exactly is the ceiling for the next 8 games that they have.
That's a good point. Well, I was going to say, Alyssa, that's a great point, because you look at Oklahoma State last year, they lost to South Alabama 7-33, the third game of the season, and still was able to win 10 games.
Yeah, and so you can't write teams off that quickly, but you can, after 4, have an idea of what the team's skill set looks like. Like, you're not going to have too much change from a talent perspective in that short amount of time during a season, but you can see, okay, this talent can get us this many wins this year after four games.
Matt and I, in the last segment, we're kicking around the Tua versus Brian Flores deal over the last 24 hours. It's been really, really interesting. You're a Dolphins fan, and, the franchise pointed in the right direction right now. But this kind of, man, I mean, it brought up the idea of, sometimes do coaches know who it is that they're speaking to in the way that they speak? Because it can't be a one-size-fits-all kind of a thing. I think it's also the same idea as, like who's working for you at Pig Trail Nation. I mean, you can't communicate to everybody the same way, because everybody is, people are motivated differently, and they just operate differently. And that's what I got from this. Like, I don't know how often Brian Flores had ever spoken to a quarterback, especially one as soft-spoken and seemingly as sensitive as Tua is.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's something as managers, as coaches, we all learn and realize that it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, and obviously I think that you can look at a lot more of examples than Tua of quarterbacks who flourished under different leadership and under different coaching, and that doesn't make one coach terrible and the other coach phenomenal, or one player terrible and the other player phenomenal. you just don't mix. And I think we even learned that with bosses, right? Like, you can flourish under new management, under a new boss, under someone who just talks to you in a more inspirational way for you. It's like people's love language, right? Like, you've got to show the other person their love language because they speak differently than you do. And that's what I got out of this. And I just think, with Tua and the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel, I just think they really found a coach that speaks Tua's love language and is able to work with him and make him grow. I don't think if Tua's on another team, he might not have that kind of growth that he did. So, it's a lesson that you learn, but it's a hard lesson I think each of us have learned at some point in our life when working with other people.
Alyssa, did you get to hear any Coach Pittman speaking at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and kind of what were your thoughts on how that was handled?
Yeah, I didn't. I saw some social media clips. Yesterday was a big end of the summer pool party for Finn. First day of school for Finn. First day of work for Mom. Back to work for Mom. But, I thought it was funny. I do so respect. He understands exactly what his position is right now as the head coach at Arkansas and the expectations that this season comes with and the pressure that's on him. And yet he still can be Sam Pittman. Take off his tie, make jokes, still be the Sam Pittman that we know and that we love. It's just now like you have to have results on the football field. But I respect that he's just always going to be himself and true to himself. And I think that's what we all really, really respect and love about him.
But I think that's also why some people, are critical of how, I guess the word is honest, he can be sometimes, with the 8 interceptions at the scrimmage, answering I don't know about how you can improve the offense. But I also think that is who he is. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and if he doesn't have an answer, he may express that. The thing is, people don't want to hear that. Like, if you're the head coach, you're whether the answer is right or wrong, I think people just expect an answer.
Yeah, and that's always been like right after games, having that experience has been like, well, I don't know. Well, you do have to look back. Like, you can take a step back and have a little bit of grace. It's like how many people did have answers right off the bat, watching a game without watching the film. I mean, that's a hard position to be in general. But I do know how the I don't knows just come off different than, like, he could say anything that makes absolutely no sense, but it sounds like a football talk, and people have been like, okay, yeah, which is the same as I don't know, but he just didn't say I don't know. I think those 3 words just aren't what people want. But, again, yeah, I think he's learning. I think he's growing as a head coach, too. And, sometimes you're just going to get I don't knows, but that doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't know. He just doesn't have an answer for you right now, which I think are 2 very different things.
So I pulled up my Major League Baseball standings, and there it is. Dodgers have the best record. And I don't know if I'd say they're peaking, but they're playing really well. I mean, you got Kershaw healthy back. He's pitching well. Mookie's back. He's in right field. Yep. Gavin Stone is dealing too, Lake City's own. You want to make a Dodgers World Series? What do you say?
Oh, my gosh, y'all. You're going to make me stressed out.
That was my
I'm
whole
just
point
happy
to
they're
bringing it
winning
up.
again. Phil, I'm just glad they're winning again consistently. They look like a Dodgers baseball team again. And call me back in October, okay?
Happens every year. They'll get to October. Just a matter of what happens after that. Alyssa, thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. We'll do it again next week.
Guys, thanks so much. Always enjoy it.
Thanks,
See ya.
Alyssa.
Alyssa Orange, Pig Trail Nation, with us each Tuesday on Halftime. We're brought to you by Crabtree RV Center in Alma. They've been in Alma for over 70 years and 4 generations, making sure your family gets the absolute best experience choosing the right RV for your adventures. Everything you need, the service and parts department is there on site. Crabtree RV, right at the junction of I-40 and I-49 beside the Cracker Barrel, and online at crabtreerv.com. Calls and texts on Halftime come in at 877-377-6963, and we are back in a moment.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a fourth-generation family-owned business taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
This is halftime.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Todd Richardson checking back in. We are at Hardee's at the Rogers Avenue location in Fort Smith. It is the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime. I had myself some biscuits and gravy and chicken biscuit because Hardee's has breakfast now till 12 o'clock. But I know a lot of you want a Monster Burger this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. You can have one. Not that you can have one. It's free. But you got to do it in 150 seconds or less. Folks, if you do it, you're qualified for the 19th annual football trip of lifetime contest, which actually takes place this Saturday at the Phoenix Avenue location in Fort Smith. This Hardee's, Dwayne and his team, really excited. We got high school coaches, we got players, and we got some repeat champions coming back. So swing out by. We're at Hardee's, the Rogers Avenue location, till 1 o'clock in Fort Smith.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
This is Chuck Fawcett with Chuck Fawcett Realty. When I have an HVAC problem or a plumbing problem, I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940. Blaylock Heating and Air.
So to have a red truck rolling your way today, give us a call. That's Blaylock Heating and Air Conditioning for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, and drain cleaning needs and great York Home products. It's just one number you need to know. That's 782-8940.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Calling on the shop for your love, baby, because I'm feeling up. Look at how sad.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
And our comeback music today is making me do the doing the overbite. Can't help it. A little that going on there. Hands up. Man, you picked some
little Starsky and Hutch.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
A little disco-ish. It sounds like that was just a tad before disco.
If your mother wasn't such a great cop for me, you'd be fired now.
Hey, get a load of this. So we were lauding Mike Gundy for basically telling agents publicly yesterday, stop calling. We're not going to negotiate NIL during the season. And now comes this little bit of news from Matt Fortuna, who contributes to Stadium and is founder of the Inside Zone College Football. This will happen the week that Arkansas plays Oklahoma State. And if you're watching on ABC, there will be QR codes on the back of Oklahoma State's players' helmets. Every one of these QR codes links directly to the General Team Fund. This is a quote from Mike Gundy coming from Matt Fortuna's Twitter. This is a revolutionary step forward to help keep Oklahoma State football ahead of the game. It gives a chance for everyday fans across the world to have a real impact when it comes to supporting the NIL efforts for Cowboy football. I'm thrilled about this opportunity for our players, unquote. And then he turned around and he shouted out to the agents who were there at practice, or at least trying to watch from the outside, lose my phone number already. I don't know. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth here, but that's happened before. It's interesting. So now we got college football, Matt, where there are logos on the field. Pilot gas stations logos will be on the field at Neyland Stadium. Whenever the naming rights to Razorback Stadium are sold, I'll assume that the naming rights sponsor will have a logo on the field. Players are going to be paid directly by the athletic departments in a year, and we have QR codes on the back of a helmet that goes directly to the general fund for football. That's something else.
That is something else. Apparently, whenever you go to sleep and you wake up the next day, you just get to choose whatever you want to remember what you said. You don't have to remember everything you said. It's like, well, I've slept since then, so we're going to start going this way. I think it's going around. You see that with a lot of people that talk in the media.
It does happen a lot. But, I mean, a college football coach is also asked to speak on every single topic every single day, especially at practice when, they're meeting with him. And they do meet with Gundy in a different way than the media meets with Sam Pittman or anybody at Arkansas. And it's all done through, the press conference setting at Arkansas. And I think most of the SEC does it that way. With Gundy, I've seen some of these, and it looks different. It's more like the media scrum. Everybody's got their microphone out, and they're asking questions in a less organized way than if it was somebody up on a podium that's staring at the people that are asking questions. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of looking at it in both ways. Don't negotiate during the season, but let's do everything we possibly can to make sure that we raise as much money as possible so that once we start renegotiating in December, if I remember what he said, then we have all the money that we need. The thing is, though, it's like, how easy is it going to be to actually, get your phone on the QR code to donate unless you pause the television? I would assume that's probably the way you got to do it. You got to pause the TV and then pull your camera up and then zoom in. You've tried to do this before. Some of these QR codes are just too small, so you zoom in, and then when you zoom in, it's kind of pixelated, so you can't get where you need to go. I just wonder how many fans are actually going to make this donation during a game. Because that's what this is designed for. That's exactly what this is designed for. You know what? I can't stand watching this idiot left tackle who can't block anybody right now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to zoom in on his QR code, and I'm going to make a donation, and I'm going to have a tag to this donation that says, get a new freaking left tackle.
Or it's like, thanks for number 81 for catching 2 touchdown passes. Make sure he gets 12% of this. Like this, the other way. We're winning 48-17. Those guys got to eat.
Wouldn't that be interesting if you could actually make a donation directly to a player?
That's the way we're going. That's the way to be able to. That's the way you're going.
Man, I'm just trying to digest that thought. The pay, you get paid more based upon the play that you just made. This feels like fan-controlled football league. Right? The thing that Johnny Football played in a little bit.
We're making it up as you go. Nobody, the NCAA has lost any type of credibility or any type of power or any type of authority that it used to have over the governing body. Like NCAA used to stand for something, used to mean something. Now it doesn't mean anything at all. It's just, we don't care anymore. We're going to do this the way we want to do it. They're just making stuff up. And then when people get in trouble, you think of Harbaugh last year. There was no trouble. Nobody's going to get in trouble at Michigan for what happened. They won a championship, and you move on.
Chris texted and he thought, well, they could be the other way around here. If you're going to have a QR code so that somebody can send a donation, what if they want a refund from the donation that they made when the season started, expecting 8 or 9 wins, and the season's over and they didn't get those 8 or 9 wins? You're expecting a return on your investment, so you want a refund of some sort of percentage of it, right? Something tells me it's a one-way QR code and does not work back to the fan, unfortunately, in that case. Man, this is one I didn't expect. Like, I guess, I'm not surprised if you put a QR code up on the video board, or if there might be, I don't know, like a sign next to the field, or cheerleaders can pull up a sign with a QR code on it. Or I like the idea that you had, Matt. Every player has their own individual QR code. It's like, you remember Santonio Holmes whipped out the terrible towel a few times after he'd make a great reception or a touchdown catch? What if you just pull out your QR code handkerchief after catching a touchdown or sacking the quarterback or whatever, some sort of positive play, and then after you're finished with your sack celebration, you flash your QR code to the cameras and the direct donation goes right to you? Might as well, while we're thinking.
Man, it's going to be fun, isn't it? It's going to be fun. What a great time to be a college athlete. It's just, and it happened like that. It wasn't like all of a sudden we build into it, but how things happen these days, it just all of a sudden happened. And the college football athletes, man, what a great time.
And I wonder sometimes if it's just like too much going on. There's just a lot to wrap your mind around as a coach, as an athlete. It would seem to me, Matt, like when you were playing at Arkansas, things were fairly simple, kind of simplified. Your schooling is paid for. You're going to get fed. You're going to have a place to live. You're going to have a place to sleep. You're expected to show up to practice. You're expected to show up to class. And things kind of went from there. Like, you might have been envious of somebody that was making money, when you weren't allowed to work or hold a job or anything, but it was a simple existence. Doesn't seem like it's anything like a simple existence now. You still have to do all those things, but then you got to worry about what it is you're getting paid, and that you're paying the right agent. Think of the kid, the Rodney Hill, who's the new running back at Arkansas, and had an agent that basically got him kicked off the Florida State team. That's another thing that he was worried. I guess he wasn't worried about it at that moment, but he is now. It's not a simple existence. None of us really have simple existences now compared to 20 years ago. But
they always, you always had food on the table. You always had first class everything, and you always had, if it was a per diem here. You're a college kid. You always had $100 in your pocket. In college, you got $100 in your pocket. You do. It's nothing like what's going on now. But you didn't want for anything. Everything there that you needed was first class, and they provided everything for you. And now they still do. It's just they're giving you. Everybody gets 6 figures. If you're a starter in the SEC, you're getting $10,000 a game, and you play over 10. You do the math, and then if you're a quarterback, you're getting $100,000 a game. Minimum $50,000 a game. That's so you're getting close to $1 million.
And you think of what the money, and I don't know what ESPN and CBS and NBC were paying for college football rights 20 years ago, but what they're paying now, that's like this is one of the big reasons why college sports is the way that it is right now, because you can't have all that money and it's going to who? Just the administrators, just the coaches. So, it's a value judgment, I guess. Kevin in Fort Smith asks if the kicker makes a game-winning last-second field goal, he could be the highest-paid player on the team with the QR code idea. That's right. Now, the way that Oklahoma State is working this, it's not going just to an individual player. This QR code is identical on everybody's helmet, so it goes right to the same page, which this tweet defines it as the general team fund. So it sounds to me like that this goes right to the football team NIL fund. I won't go to any of OSU's basketball or baseball or softball or anything like that. It goes directly to the general NIL fund for football. So in that case, if the kicker makes the game-winning last-second field goal, he's just making what he signed for. And then these guys' QR codes, Matt, essentially are raising money for next year's team.
I made a donation, Kruger, in your name to the Human Fund.
And he didn't get anything on his investment for that. He literally got nothing.
Festivus. He got to go join Festivus. And
is that enough of a return?
I mean, to see the Costanzas, how they get down, that might be worth it right there.
Well, the Human Fund does incredibly important work across our listening audience, across the state, and really across the country. Look it up. The Human Fund. It's one of our fake charities. 877-377-6963. Stay with us. We'll wrap up the second hour right after this.
This is Halftime. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Todd Richardson back here at Hardee's. Really appreciate Rowdy and Jason stopping by. Now, congrats to Rowdy. He qualified. Jason just came up just short at the Hardee's Rogers Avenue location here in Fort Smith. Rowdy qualified for the football trip of a lifetime contest last year, and Jason might try and give it another whirl down the road at some point. But hey, we only got about hour 15 or so for you to qualify. What do you do to qualify? Eat a Monster Burger, 150 seconds or less, and you're in for the contest this Saturday from 1 to 3 at Hardee's on Phoenix Avenue, still in Fort Smith, and you got a chance to win these Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles tickets in AT&T Stadium. Again, only another hour or so for your chance to qualify. Thanks to Dwayne and his team at Hardee's. Come on by and see us again. We're at the Rogers Avenue Hardee's location in Fort Smith. 19th annual football trip of a lifetime contest.
You never know what you will walk up on or find over the hill at the Tackle Box. For almost 50 years, the Tackle Box has been your home for hunting and fishing supplies and some of the best outdoor stories. Whether guns, ammo, fishing supplies, or home decor, come back and see them again. They even buy your old fishing tackle or guns. The Tackle Box, your sports store for hunting, fishing, firearms, and more. 3010 Street, Fort Smith, 646-3193.
The adventure starts at the Tackle Box for sportsmen just like you.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come Get You Some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You might not get rich, but let me tell you, it's better than digging a ditch. Telling who you might be, a movie star, or maybe even a
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Neglected to bring this up yesterday because we kind of just burned right through things really quickly. It's funny how 3 hours yesterday only felt like 180 minutes. We've got Seaburger Movie Unit back in the studio chair. Christian Johnston, did you achieve your homework over the weekend and watch the program, Football Movie Classic 1993?
My gosh, it was so funny. The exaggeration with some of the players, like the Steve Latimer guy was my favorite.
He painted his face like the Ultimate Warrior.
On steroids and just couldn't control himself. It was funny. Coming in the locker room, cussing.
Did it make you want to go headbang a car windshield?
No, but man. And the coach was looking at, pulls him over on the sideline and stares into his eyes. And they have like a moment of, disappointment.
I remember that movie had a fairly graphic broken leg, right? The linebacker,
the stud that was, he goes, see that shoe? It says Adidas. I taught him that.
But you see the leg break on the film, right? Like I remember that moment. It's one of those things. You didn't need to really see that, but thanks anyway.
You want to go share a 6-pack of soda?
Are there? It's amazing. When's the last time you've seen that movie?
20. I don't know.
And you're remembering lines from this movie. You haven't seen it in 20 years.
It was Heath King was a linebacker at Van Buren, and he was a guy that he liked the program, that movie, and I remember watching it a couple of times in high school. Yeah.
You've got one of those. It's like I didn't realize this until the ability to remember all these movies, that you've got a little bit of the Rick Schaefer Venus flytrap brain.
There's no, I thought you'd be taller.
Yeah, that too.
I wish you were smarter.
So, all right, I saw the program I don't see what they got on Rotten Tomatoes, but it got like a 3 out of 5 stars on the site I'd pulled up earlier today. Would you give it a better grade than 3 out of 5 stars?
I'd give it a 4.
That's a better grade.
Nice.
So that would be thumbs up. I bet you Seaburger Movie Unit does not know about Siskel and Ebert. I'm going to bet you about that. Do you know who those people are, Christian?
No.
Siskel and Ebert were probably the most famous movie critics ever.
There was so yesterday watching Carson, it was when Chevy Chase was just coming out with Fletch. That was so it was like 85 was the episode, and they were he's about to do the Christmas, the European vacation, and Carson's talking to him about, man, that was 10 out of 10 type of movie. Fletch was hilarious and blah blah blah. And then they were talking about the first one, the first vacation, and he goes, that dog scene, it just made me laugh. He laughed for hours. He said with the dog scene that was tied to the back of the car, and it's so funny because they laugh about it and the fans kind of go and Chevy's like, yeah, and everybody remember the dog wasn't injured in the movie, because everybody's like, oh, I can't believe you would show that. He's like, the dog, it's a movie, guys. It's for fun. We're playing. Of course, he goes, you're in costume for this movie, and Chevy goes, I'm in costume for every movie.
I feel like he was in costume for everything that he ever did, because he was like a Kevin Costner just plays Kevin Costner in all the movies.
Ryan Reynolds.
Chevy Chase really just played Chevy Chase.
Yes,
in all
he does.
Those movies too.
Yes, he does.
He didn't really have a script for most of them, so they're just going to let Chevy do his thing, and some of this will be funny. 877-377-6963 if you want to get with us as we head into our third hour. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio stops by in about 20 minutes, so stay with us.
The best things in life never change. They just get better, like Hardee's Original Bag, just $6.99. Loaded with fries, a drink, and 2 full-size favorites. A juicy charbroiled double cheeseburger, melty hot ham and cheese sandwich, or crispy hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Choose any 2 plus fries and a drink, all only $6.99. Hardee's Original Bag, loaded with handcrafted goodness. It's the greatest meal deal for your buck. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crickhopper.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
End of season savings are yours right now on Kubota hay equipment at Gray Brothers, including the new DM Series disc mowers, or try Kubota's DM Series trail mowers. And for the prettiest bale of hay on the market, try Kubota's VV Series round baler. With Gray Brothers low pricing and great interest rates from Kubota, it's time for your new hay equipment. That's Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Poto, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
Did you know that almost 80% of all advertising is spent on digital? This is Dale Daniels, Digital Sales Manager for ESPN Arkansas, and due to the growth in digital advertising, we have the opportunity for the right person to join our team. Digital and radio advertising go hand in hand, and we're looking for someone to help businesses grow with this powerful combination. If you have experience in broadcast and digital marketing or business development, we want to hear from you. Email your resume to sales@hitthatline.com. Pearson Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the low to mid 80s. We end up with a clear sky overnight, low in the low 60s overnight. Wednesday, plenty of sunshine, a high in the low to mid 80s. Thursday, plenty of sunshine. Our high temperatures on Thursday, low 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 9 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com. You got a team in here. Got the perspective. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah. Take it to the house.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Even one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Into our third hour on halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston producing. Calls and texts coming in at 877-377-6963. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio in just a little bit. And yes, a couple people texted in about Siskel and Ebert. Remember the thumbs up? Yep, thumbs up. But the two of them, when they would disagree about a movie, it would be very entertaining. Because I think they understood that they were entertainers at the same time. People weren't just tuning in to hear people agree about this. So, yeah, that was a good TV show. But it's been a while since, I forget. I mean, Siskel passed away. I think that was like 7 or 8 years ago. Been a long time since Ebert was last was alive. Let's see. I wanted to hit on this deal where Major League Baseball. I don't know if you've seen this, Matt. Basically, baseball and starting pitchers just doesn't mean as much as it used to now. You know that the average starting pitcher goes less than 5 innings a game. It's got to be the first time in the history of the sport that Major League starting pitchers, on average, don't go long enough to even average the ability to get a decision, to go 5 innings and be eligible for a victory. And baseball's in a place where they have forced the game to change based on the rules that they've changed in the recent years. You know, I mean, if you watch a major league game, heck, you watch a minor league game, you go to the Naturals. I go to the Travelers and the Naturals sometimes. You can see where a lot of these rules changes have influenced the sport that you're watching right there in front of you. Speed matters more now in baseball. You see a lot more hit and runs. Heck, you see a lot more straight steals. But there's only so much that you can do in talking and trying to convince front office folks for the idea that people do care about what the starting pitching matchup is. I mean, there's a reason why those are that's basically the first thing that you know when you look at the preview of a game is who the starting pitchers are. What's the old adage about momentum? Momentum in baseball is only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. And those are usually the highest paid players in the sport for a very good reason. But you're at a place where maybe Blake Snell is the best pitcher in baseball right now, potentially. And it's rare for him to go through 6 to 7 innings. Heck, that no-hitter he pitched a few weeks ago was the first time he'd ever gone 8 innings. He gets a decision in less than half his starts. So he just doesn't matter as much as a starting pitcher did 15, 20 years ago, heck, even about 10 years ago. Major League Baseball, Matt, is thinking about, and I think they're years away from being able to implement this, of forcing starting pitchers to go at least 6 innings. Forcing the starter to go 6 innings unless he throws 100 pitches or gives up 4 runs or is hurt. And if the pitcher is taken out of the game because of an injury, well, then he has to go on the injured list and miss his next start. So there can't be any shenanigans about, oh, this guy's hurt, but he really isn't. And I know that people don't like forcing change into the game by rules changes. And a lot of people didn't like the pitch timer. And a lot of people don't like the inability to really shift as heavily as you used to be able to shift, and the 2 pickoff rule and 3 batter minimum. But I feel like these rules changes have all been made to make the game more watchable. And I think that that's succeeded to a point. But the batter-pitcher matchup is really where baseball is made. And even now, still, It's relegated to, we've got somebody on the mound who will throw 1,000,000 miles an hour and do it at 105%. This pitcher just expects he's going to have an elbow injury because this is the way he's been coached to pitch. We got batters that are trying to hit it over the fence all the time, and so you don't see the ball in action very much. I think that this idea, and again, I think if they were to do this, it would take years because it also would change the way that major league front offices are viewing what they want from a starting pitcher. Not somebody who's out there to blow somebody away for 4 to 5 innings, somebody that can actually make it through a lineup 3 times, which is so rare, pitchers aren't even allowed to face a lineup 3 times anymore. So I feel like the knee-jerk reaction is to say, I hate this, because you're feeling like something's being forced onto it. What this could lead to actually would be a little bit more like the game that you might have grown up watching 25 to 30 years ago, where pitchers do go longer, where they're actually pitching instead of just throwing and trying to get the ball by the bat all the time, maybe looking to induce a little more weak contact, working on secondary pitches, even more than just one secondary pitch, 2 or 3 of them or even 4 of them, because velocity won't be the thing that matters the most because you got to get through 6 innings. So that was the thing I thought of initially was I don't like this because we're resistant to change. The more I think about it, and my thought process is about why are they thinking about doing this? Nobody in the front office of Major League Baseball is thinking about this rule change to ruin the game, no matter what you think. They're not trying to ruin the game. They're trying to make it more watchable. They're trying to get more eyes to the game so that they make more money through higher television contracts, as you can point to ratings. And maybe this could lead to that. But again, it would be years down the road because it all filters down. You know, youth pitchers now, they're coached to learn how to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can, which usually isn't as long as a pitcher that isn't trying to throw as hard as he can. And you know, it works its way up through high school, into college, into the minors. So it's probably something that would be like 4, 5, 6 years away, but I could see this being implemented. And I'm not against it yet.
Well, baseball is definitely going through a lot of changes. I still liked it when they had the AL and the NL and you had the DH and the AL and the pitchers batted. I'm all for pitchers being a student of the game and figuring it out that way instead of just throwing heat the whole time. I mean, you're playing the game of baseball. It's almost they become very individualized where it's, man, that's all they do. They can do one thing extremely well, and then we're going to base everything on that. 6-inning rule. You know, in soccer, Phil, that you start the game as soon as you're subbed out, you cannot go back in that game. You know, think about if you had a rule like that in basketball. You know, you're starting 5 out there. As soon as you sub somebody out, you can't go back in the game. So, yeah, I mean, pitchers it's just weird to put a number on it that says you have to go 6 innings or else, or this happens. You know, that's what kind of seems weird. I mean, the way to do it is you lower the number of pitchers you have on your team.
That might go along with it.
Take 5 spots off your pitcher roster limit, and then all of a sudden your pitchers are going to have to go longer.
Yeah, that to me is what it's about. And you know, I know a lot of people that love the sport of baseball but decry what it's become, and it's just about those 3 true outcomes: strikeout, walk, home run. I think that this could return the sport a little bit more to what you were used to watching, of not guys that are nibbling the corners necessarily, because if you're also going with the idea of an automated strike zone, nibbling the corners doesn't mean the same thing that it used to. You're not going to be getting pitches off the plate, even a little bit off the plate, that you might have worked to get with a human umpire, but you don't get anymore because it's not a human umpire. But I think it's the same idea as nobody's trying to steal bases anymore. Nobody's doing hit and run. They're just trying to hit it over the fence all the time. Well, you know, the 2 pickoff rule, the no shift rule, that's changed the sport a little bit in the year that it's been implemented in a positive way. And I would just say you can't be automatically resistant to rules changes just because you're resistant. And that's the way it feels sometimes. If you want the game to be played more the way that it was when you were younger, this might actually be a way to return it to that. It's something they'll study. It's not happening next year or the year after.
And that the shift change, I was kind of 50-50 on that because my thought is, man, line up your 9 guys however you want to line them up. You know, if you want to line them up, and then as the hitter, man, if you're leaving this whole gap over here, why am I not hitting it there? Are you do you like the fact that you have to have so many on that second base, how they've done the shift change rules?
I think it's a little odd to force somebody over to one side of the bag, but there's certain ways around it too. Just, you position somebody kind of behind second base, and then when the pitch is delivered, he rushes over. But I was resistant to that idea as well, because I don't want to see just everybody trying to hit the ball over the fence all the time. I don't find it really all that interesting. I don't find it all that. Look, I love velocity. Everybody loves velocity, and that's why pitchers are coached to it, because it's harder to hit. It just leads to a game that's not as interesting. And I think that's really what the front office people in Major League Baseball are looking at here. Razorback football season is almost here. We are 9 days away from kickoff at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. It's Arkansas against UAPB Thursday, August the 29th. Got tickets on sale right now, starting at $30 at ArkansasRazorbacks.com. We hope to see you there. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio stops by halftime right after this.
This is halftime.
With his new glasses. It's like Clark Kent. This guy is dominating offensively. Indeed, he's also a quality guy. We had more fun talking with him. He was a walk-on. Now he's an All-American. He also is brilliant. He's a great student. Last week he got his MBA. The guy is just what college football is all about.
I've been called everything. Clark Kent, Kurt Rambis, Drew Carey, you name it, I've been called it.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Pay attention. This happens fast. Routine, scheduled, maintenance. You know it's coming one day, but that day's in the future. Then the future comes, and your wallet's not ready for that $250 maintenance. But your forklift is. It needs it. Good thing you're smart. You're buying a used forklift from Medley Equipment Company this summer, and its first planned maintenance will be free because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 1 pallet or more of select shingles. Plus, save 10% when you buy 68 or more select OSB sheathing. And if you find a lower price in-store or online, we'll match it. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Over 11,000 off on remaining 2023 GMC Sierras, or up to 7,000 off on remaining GMC Yukon XLs at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. These are the largest factory discounts in years, so hurry before they're gone. Plus up to $6,500 off on in-stock 2024 GMC Sierras. Conquer the road with confidence in a GMC Sierra from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Do you want to see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on November 10th? Can you eat a Monster Burger in 150 seconds to qualify for the football trip of a lifetime? It's the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and hitthatline.com. Go to hitthatline.com for more details and let's secure your seat at the table. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
How can I ever change things that I feel? If I could, maybe I'd feel you. How can I, when you won't take it from me? You can go your own way. You can call it another day. You can go your own way.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Tuesday afternoons, we get a chance to talk with Bill King, the king of college football talk, hosting 6 to 9 on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. And we always appreciate your time, Bill. We have 9 days until kickoff for Arkansas, but we got games Saturday that actually count. So happy football playing portion of the football season. I got to correct myself. How you doing today, Bill?
Hey, guys. Doing well. Thank you.
Good. You excited for Florida State, Georgia Tech? Ought to be you think that'll be a halfway decent game, or is this just Florida State in a blowout?
Needs to be sloppy for Georgia Tech, and might be. Game ones are a little unpredictable. Offenses don't really get game reps. There's nothing like a game rep. Practice against your own teammates is not the same, and so maybe Georgia Tech gets a little bit of a reprieve. Now, I think that Georgia Tech has done a pretty good job reviving itself the last year and a half, and they've got Haynes King, who we'll all remember from his A&M days, couldn't stay healthy, and he's been very good at Georgia Tech. And they're excited about the season coming up. They're about a 10-11, I think, as much as a 13-point underdog, and I think in the second half, Florida State should out-athlete them.
Do you see this story coming out of Stillwater today? And it's really just interesting in the last couple of days, some of the stuff that Mike Gundy's talked about with NIL. One day it's agents aren't supposed to call us because we don't want to redo any renegotiating during the season. Call me in December. And now today, we've got the general NIL fund for football connected to a QR code that's on the back of every Oklahoma State helmet, which, I mean, they are different sides of the coin, but it's interesting that these are this is one day after the other. And, hey, you got to think a little outside the box if you're raising NIL, and that's thinking outside the box.
No, it is. Look, Gundy doesn't give a rip what anybody thinks, and coming out on Mike and saying, tell you guys to quit bugging me, we're not negotiating anymore, that'll happen again in December. It's pretty funny. It doesn't shock me that he would say something like that, and it's time to play football. If you want to make more money, go out and do something about it. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I've had a couple of really good conversations with the mullet through the years, and I've always enjoyed it.
Hey, Bill, the last couple of years, everybody's kind of been in unison that Georgia was the most athletic team, the deepest team, had dudes everywhere. And then I see the first team All-American list come out. Ohio State, first time ever, gets 4 players on preseason All-American. Are they equal to Georgia? Is Ohio State now? Do they have the best collection of athletes?
No, because they're not as good at quarterback. And Will Howard, I think it's going to be good for them, but he's not as good as Carson Beck overall. And they're not nearly as good on the offensive line as Georgia. That's, to me, the separator there. Now, I'm not saying that Ohio State in 3-4 months We see them in the postseason. Couldn't fair and square beat Georgia, but right now I don't think that would be a good matchup for Ohio State. Now, is there a better receiving core in the country than Ohio State's? No. And a true freshman is going to start in there too, who's top-ranked freshman in America. But they're loaded at wide receiver, and if that offensive line does gel, which is a question mark, then I think they're capable of being as good as anybody.
Who do you think is the best quarterback in the Big Ten? Is there anybody that stands out to you at the moment?
Yeah, I think the one with the best upside, he wasn't real well coached in the past, is Drew Aller, the young quarterback at Penn State, who is a former 5-star. I believe he's going in year 3. And I think he probably would have the upside. They've got a brand new coordinator in there from Kansas who did a very good job for my guy Lance Leipold, and I think that offense might take another step this year. So I'd probably, without having thought about it much, probably go with him.
Well, I was going to ask you, Bill, with Oregon, with them getting Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma, and I think Dylan Gabriel's a 100% college guy. I don't see him playing on Sundays. Is he on that list at an Oregon to there? Would you think he could come in there and be first or second best quarterback in the Big Ten?
I think he's going to be allowed to put up the numbers. Absolutely. Lefty. This guy has seen and done it all, different geographical locations. He's been a winner everywhere. They got him in from Hawaii. So this guy is a world traveler, right? And, yeah, I wasn't much thinking about him at the moment. But, yeah, no. It just as far as a league, a conference type anointment or award at the end of the year, he's going to be right up there.
Is Iowa a team that you think can threaten in the Big Ten this year? They're ranked 25th in both the polls. You know, I guess the idea they bring in a new offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, I think was the head coach at Western Michigan before. Got Caden McNamara at quarterback now, and I mean they can't really be any worse than they were the last couple of years. But does that mean they had a world-beating defense the last few years, couldn't move the ball offensively? Does this change things for them?
No, makes it worse because now you can't hide in a bad division. No more divisions. You can't go over there and hide in the West. And I'm a big Kirk Ferentz guy and appreciate what he's done there. I applaud it, but no, it's a tougher environment. They're less of a threat now, and they're going to be less of a threat into the future with the way we're set up.
You know, it's funny how you put that about hiding in the West Division. I was looking at some of the schedules in the SEC this year, and I know we don't have divisions right now, but if you're just looking at the schedule, Alabama's in the West, practically. Or, pardon me, Alabama's in the East. I mean, they get Georgia, Vandy, Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri. I mean, that's 5 out of their 8. They were all East Division teams. I mean, I can't even imagine not playing Ole Miss. I mean, Alabama not playing Ole Miss feels weird, and that'd be 2 years in a row because they're not going to play them next year either.
Yeah, it can work both ways. It can work to your advantage. For example, Ole Miss has got a very reasonable schedule. Now, they have to play Georgia, and they probably won't win that game, but they get them in Oxford, right? And they do have to play Texas, but their schedule is very reasonable. You want to take a look at a reasonable schedule, look at Nebraska, year 2 of Matt Rule. They could be 6-0. Now, I wouldn't bet that, but on paper, they could be 6-0 heading into Columbus, Ohio, because of just the way the schedule lays out for the Big Red.
Bill, another thing we were talking about is Alabama's general manager, Courtney Morgan, getting that raise. Yep. What kind of, I understand the role of a GM at the NFL level or the NBA level. What's kind of different? Are you just a liaison? Are you a go-between between the players and the agent because there's no players union? What's different? What is the role of a GM at a big-time college program?
For centuries, we had a term in college football for a staff member, and that was the recruiting coordinator. That's what that is on steroids. Probably a little bit more responsibility than just being the recruiting coordinator, but you are the director of player personnel in essence. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to, push around the coach and tell him who the left tackle needs to be. But your job 25 hours a day is the acquisition and the searching of talent, whether that's recruiting, high school kids, or whether that's portal considerations for the future. And they just bumped him up. Now, think about this now. He's only been on the job 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it is, moving down from Washington with Caleb DeBoer, and they've already bumped him from 500 and something to 800 and something. They haven't played a game yet. He was at Michigan with Harbaugh, and is a Michigan guy, And they were really mad at him. A couple of years ago, he got called by Kalen DeBoer when he left Fresno State to go to Washington, and nobody thought he would take the gig, and he took the gig. And DeBoer basically said, I'm going to make up a job for you, general manager, and give it to you and let you run with it. And by the way, guys, Southern Cal, here the last several months, made a big run at him with a lot of money. And I think that's one of the catalysts also for this big race.
Yeah, and I saw they were coming at him with a position that was going to be titled President of Football, which seems like a really, really big job. Just those three words put up against each other. But it's like everybody's got to have somebody that does this, whether it's a president of football or a general manager. And, man, the more I think about it, you remember when Herm Edwards had taken the job at Arizona State, and he hired a general manager, and we were kind of laughing at it. But then again, you know, what happened with Edwards there was a little bit of a joke in some ways too. But the whole point is, like, these are the people that are handling the acquisition, but Bill, I also think they're the ones that might be, I don't know if in charge is the right word, but the keeper of the NIL. Like, that's the person that I think Gundy would be referring to about, you know, we're getting all these phone calls from agents about renegotiating. Those calls are answered by president of football or general manager, or in some cases, like at Arkansas, I don't think they have a specific general manager or somebody that handles just that sort of thing. So it's kind of diffused, those responsibilities are diffused out, but somebody's handling that. And at Alabama, it's the GM.
And that is a huge headache for the head coach, meaning lifted. Now, it doesn't mean you still aren't aware of issues or what the money situation flow looks like, but you've got a guy now that can bypass that you trust. It better be somebody you trust with your own bank account, wink, wink, if you know what I mean. And obviously they have that relationship here. He said that, just an interesting note, I remember when he left Michigan a few years ago to go to UW, he said his mom, who has since passed away, called him and told him he was making a huge mistake. He said everybody was against him. It's really a good story.
Interesting. Hey, I was listening this morning, and you brought up the idea of how many schools can actually win a national championship. You know, if you get everything in line, you get the right players. And I just took a look back. Over the previous 30 years, there have been 15 champions in Division I FBS. Now, and a couple of those were shared. You know, we don't do the shared championship any longer. And I just wondered, like, there's a school that's not on this list that I feel should be, and a school that is on the list, and I wonder how it happened. Penn State. They haven't won a national title in over 30 years. Is that still a school you can win a national title? And on the other side, before Dabo Swinney got to Clemson, did you perceive Clemson as a place where you can win a national title?
No. I thought it was a horrible idea to take the wide receiver coach who had been in real estate just a couple of years prior in Birmingham and elevate him. And it's turned into a ridiculously good hire. I don't think right now you can win a national championship at Penn State. Now, my point, I believe, earlier today was just brand names. You don't have to, you can be down right now. But in today's current environment, name me the brands that if they did everything to their peak ability, that university brand, that football brand, and I don't think there's 10 that you could say that about in today's environment. It's always been a very limited number. I think this environment's made it tougher. Now, people think because we expanded the playoffs, it made it easier. It is giving more teams an opportunity to play in the playoffs. That does not mean you've got a better opportunity to win. That's a misconception.
Well, I appreciate you answering and talking about that, and we'll always appreciate your time coming on Halftime on these Tuesdays, Bill. Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
It's Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio. He joins us each Tuesday on Halftime. 877-377-6963 if you got anything you want to react to here. I was just looking at the Nebraska schedule here, Matt, and Bill brought it up. What did he think they might go 6-0? UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, all at home. The first 4 games are at Memorial Stadium. At Purdue, Rutgers at home, Indiana on the road, at Ohio State, UCLA and Lincoln, at USC, Wisconsin, and then Iowa. So schedule's a little bit backloaded there. Ohio State, Southern Cal, Wisconsin, Iowa. But, yeah, I could see a 6-0 start for the Nebraska Cornhuskers this year. We'll be back with more halftime and the home stretch right after this.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
What makes Crabtree RV Center different? First, we are a fourth-generation family-owned business, taking pride in making your family's dreams come true. No corporate mentality here. Second, we've been in business for 74 years, founded in 1950 here in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas area. We are not going anywhere. What does that mean for our customers? A family feel with no corporate hidden fees. The reassurance that we will be here for generations to come, and knowledgeable salespeople who want to pick the right RV for your family to make lifetime memories in. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Z Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
The Study basketball training has moved to the Hangout in Fort Smith. With basketball training classes from kindergarten through high school, there is a spot for your athlete. Depending on your skill set and training needs, the Study offers 3 class options: fundamentals, advanced, and 94 feet. You can also work on your explosiveness with Vertimax training or perfect your shot on the Dr. Dish machine. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thestudyhoops.com for more details. Fitness, sports, and now the Study basketball training. Let's hang out.
Presented by Sharp Equipment. Get hooked on Sharp Equipment this year. Sharp Equipment has hooked up with Eastern Oklahoma Guide Service for a free guided fishing trip with the purchase of any Wacker Newson equipment. Along with getting a superior piece of equipment, you will get hooked up with a free guided fishing trip for the chance at a catch of a lifetime. Visit them at Sharp Equipment, 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or call them at 479-242-1406.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
running from a backyard movie in a country where they turn back time. They're strolling through the crowd like people are waiting in crime. He comes out of the sun, self-dressed, running like a watercolor in the rain. Don't bother asking for explanation. She will tell you that she came from the inner of the cat.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
You choose this song for me, Matt?
This was a tribute. It was a Phil Elson tribute.
Was this a tribute to one or both of the cats that might have jumped up on the TV screen at some point today?
I do have some rapport with the older cat, but I think I'm a believer in Facili Jerry. That's yeah.
And to those who are unaware, I got a kitten a couple of months ago, little Jerry Seinfeld, and Kiki, who is the cat that Matt referred to that he knows, she was already ornery before the kitten came along. Now, if you just look at her the wrong way, she's going to let you. Oh, she's going to let you know about it. She is going to let you know about it. Yeah. Little Jerry Seinfeld just wants to be friendly sometimes, but friendly to a kitten also means, hey, I want to beat the crap out of you too. And a cat that's almost 11 years old is really not into that very much. I had not heard that song before. Al Stewart, name of the artist. I can appreciate a musician who is from Great Britain who actually sounds like he's British when he's singing, because there aren't too many of them.
Harry Styles, for my money, it doesn't get any better.
Worked out very well. So, all right, I was listening to Bill this morning, and he brought up the idea of how many schools can win a national championship. So I looked up the last 30 years. By the way, in these last 30 years, there have been 15 FBS champions. 16 different schools have won the men's Final Four. 12 have won the women's Final Four, and there have been 19 different college baseball champions. So football is kind of somewhere in the middle of all of this. The thing is baseball is so random, I feel like anybody in the SEC, as long as they play in the SEC, can probably win the national title, except Missouri. That's it. Kentucky, we'll have to see if they can carry any of this momentum from the last couple of years. But any of the other schools, heck yes, they can win it. Women's basketball, I don't know if I'd say all the schools can. Men's basketball, yes. I mean, that's kind of feels a little restricted right now to just UConn. With football, so these are the schools that have won a title in the last 30 years. Alabama, Clemson, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Miami, Nebraska, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Southern Cal, Auburn, and Michigan. I feel like I don't think Miami belongs on the list any longer. I don't think that's a place where you really can win a national title anymore. I think those days were restricted to about 1983, 84 to about 2001. It isn't the same place. I think you could put Nebraska in the same category, which is shocking to think. If you were alive in the 1980s and you're thinking neither of these schools can win a national title, it's like, what planet do I live on now?
You think Auburn's is still a spot though that you can go and win one just because they're in the SEC? What about Florida as well? That's the two I would ask you about is Auburn and Florida, because they had their moments, but they struck lightning in a bottle with their offensive coordinator and their quarterback. A Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, generational quarterback. And is that what they kind of missed? When you look at Arkansas in that mold, do you think, man, if they can get that quarterback, maybe they can get lightning in a bottle?
Yeah, that is the idea, the lightning in the bottle, but it's also just like the amount of talent that is displaced through Florida, through the state, and the league that the school plays in. Like, I think it's a little more difficult to come out of the ACC now as a legitimate national championship contender. Although with 12 teams in the college football playoff, there's more access, so maybe I need to rejigger my thoughts. But the same idea, it's like, okay, if I'm taking Miami off the list, and I think that's more based on the league they're playing in. What about A&M? Texas, you can win a national championship, right? Look at all the talent in Texas. A&M's in the right league, too. I mean, They've had tons of talent come through. With Jimbo Fisher, they just haven't been able to turn it into enough wins. I just wondered, and Bill was going by brand name, right? The brand name of A&M does not scream national championship to you. I don't think Auburn does either. It's just that happened
What about
not too long ago either.
This new landscape, does USC still hold the same weight? I don't know if the USC does. I know it's you think back because you're talking about Miami and having that run. USC had a run, then kind of went silent, then had another run with when they had Pete Carroll. But they haven't. They haven't really been close to winning a national title since Pete Carroll's left.
Right, and that feels more like the brand name about it.
Yeah, I got you.
That's more about John Robinson and Pete Carroll and
Tennessee could be on that list too. When's the last time?
Tennessee's won one, but it hasn't been since '98.
T. Martin.
That's right. But is that also a brand name that you would associate with winning a national championship? And I felt like I know Bill said he didn't think Penn State would be there. I have a difficult time accepting that with the level of support that the school gets for football. With the size of the stadium and the diehards, that is a diehard program, and the league that they play in. Some of that would have to do is, all right, if Penn State's going to win a national title, guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to beat Ohio State and Michigan, or one or the other, and that's the thing they haven't been able to do for a long time now.
Do they still have a Big Ten title game because they might have to beat one of them twice?
Right. And some of this is also about, is it the access? Because now if you're in the Big Ten and the ACC, the right things happen, you get the right upsets in certain places. Heck yes, Auburn has a chance to win a national title. Heck yes, Penn State does. Hell, under the right situation, the right player, the right quarterback, the right coach, the right upset, Arkansas may have a chance at some point. There are people right now that hear that now and laugh. But Arkansas has the same access as an SEC member. You pull off the right upsets, you finish with 2 losses in the regular season, you're in, right? Theoretically. It's got to be, it's lightning in a bottle, but also it's not the brand name that people would associate with. Yeah, you're going to go there for a national champion. So what are the schools that you would think? It's Alabama. Yes, I think Florida still belongs on the list. I think Florida State does too. Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma. We really could find out in the next few years whether or not Oklahoma was based on the league they were playing in, or if this is a blue blood that continues to be a blue blood. Like Miami never won anything as a member of the ACC. They were winning national championships as an independent or as a member of the Big East, as the lone big dog in the Big East. Southern Cal, man, I think that the answer's up in the air. You're making a big switch of leagues like that, I think the answer's up in the air. But member of the Big Ten, Matt, that means right wins, right upsets, you get the access to it. Notre Dame hasn't won a national title in these 30 years. Is that a school where you would associate being a place on a short list if you were to pick 10 schools that can win a national championship? And I haven't even said Michigan yet. So right there, I've just mentioned 10 schools. And there's probably a few others that are thrown out there as well. 877-377-6963 if you got any thoughts on that. There's got to be more than 10 that you think really can win a national championship in college football. And I think a lot of it has to do with the idea that there's 12 teams that get to actually play for it now. But we always said, how many years do you really have 4 teams that can actually win a national championship in a 14 playoff? The going theory was there was only 3 teams or maybe even 2 teams. Out of the dozen that make it, how many of them you legitimately think are national championship caliber? We'll find out this December and January.
3, 4. When it gets, and it's based on season by season and how it goes, because last year, the beginning of the year, 100% Florida State would have been in that Final Four. They're down to their 3rd string quarterback. Injuries happen, so we'll see how it goes. And in theory, you're right. Florida should. It's always weird when Florida's not good, but LSU's another team that they can win a national championship as well.
And heck,
they win them. Yeah,
they've had 3 different coaches win national championships in the last 22 years, right?
we're still waiting on Oregon to win one. You know, you think about teams that's the thing. And I kind of, I guess if you're going since the 80s when, you know, when Notre Dame and Penn State won national titles, but if we move up and just say the last 25 years, there's a couple teams that are on the cusp that, man, they can. I think Oregon's one of those teams. They haven't won one yet, but if they, and I don't know if this is the year to do it, but if they get things right, they could win it.
Well, think about also when college sports really started to realign. When the Big East broke up, and then a couple years later, or a few years later, the SEC grows by 2 schools, you know, the Big Ten growing like it did the last couple of years. I just don't think we perceive that schools in the Pac-12 were national championship caliber. It felt like a surprise with Washington getting as far as they did. But I think part of that perception for USC and for Oregon will be about how they look in the Big Ten, where they're going to have to, you know, you're playing more physical teams, or at least schools that have been playing that physical brand of football for years, and they're not the ones that have to adjust.
I'm really intrigued, Phil, how Jalen Milroe looks in this new offense for Alabama. It's not going to – when I think of Washington last year and then I think of Alabama, I just don't even know how they're going to – it can't be the same blueprint. I think they're going to go back to that old – to a little more old style where they're going to be physical and run the ball, because I don't see Jalen Milroe being Michael Penix Jr.
That's a good point. 877-377-6963 to get with us. Preseason prop bets. You got to get these in pretty soon on Bet Saracen, because the season kicks off on Saturday, and you got Arkansas kicking off on Thursday. 52.5-point favorite on Bet Saracen right now. Preseason props for the NFL, college football, NBA. Got the baseball pennant race in full swing. Tons going on at Bet Saracen. It's Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Use it on your Apple iPhone. Download from the App Store. Android users from Google Play. Any web browser works. BetSaracen.com. Back to wrap up halftime in just a minute.
How about Jones? Don't be so cool, dude.
This is halftime.
Did you know that almost 80% of all advertising is spent on digital? This is Dale Daniels, Digital Sales Manager for ESPN Arkansas. And due to the growth in digital advertising, we have the opportunity for the right person to join our team. Digital and radio advertising go hand in hand, and we're looking for someone to help businesses grow with this powerful concept.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit #2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing,
ESPN 95.3.
Every night ago, I was at a disco. Man, I wanted to go. I was ready to go. That woman put me on the floor. She was ready to go. That chick was ready to go. Then she did a dip, almost off my hip. She was getting down. That chick was getting down. She wanted to walk some more. You know you knock me down once. If you want to dance, find you a big fat man. Y'all go and get on down.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
All right, man. I want to tell you what. I've just been bopping right along to your 70s. This is this is almost like Stephen Wright's Sounds of the 70s from the movie
Reservoir Dogs.
From Reservoir Dogs. That's right. We could have just played the soundtrack.
We got 3 more shows to do this week. We'll have a little fun. We can do some Quentin Tarantino soundtrack all day tomorrow. Just take his top. Is he still going to do a 9th movie or a 10th, whatever he's saying he's going to do? But we take some songs over those first 3 or 4 movies.
The next one I still want to see, and I thought we brought this up like a year ago. It was the Brad Pitt's character from
Aldo Raines.
No, it was not from Inglourious Bastards. It was the one from
Once Upon a Time
in Los Angeles. Yeah,
in Hollywood.
It's his character. It's what happens. No, it's not his character. It's DiCaprio's character. What happens to Rick
Dalton
later on in his career? Because I think he wrote a script, actually like a treatment about this, and it feels like the guy that ended a movie with a flamethrower might be using that flamethrower later on in his career, because I think that actually happened.
Well, I practiced with it for 4 hours a day for 3 weeks, not just because I wanted to look good doing it, but, because I wanted to, hey, is there any way you can turn this thing down a little bit? Rick, it's a flamethrower.
Just a little. Yeah, no. I don't think that goes up to 11, does it? Can't mix those two things together.
So Inglourious Bastards came out 15 years ago this week.
Did it?
In the movie, all the movie stuff. So it was out 15 years ago. Wow.
Isn't that Tarantino's only war movie?
Well, Kill Bill, she's an assassin. But yeah, like the point of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one too. I do,
because Django, they're fighting, but it's not like war. It's a different type of war. But Christopher Waltz is the only actor to win like a supporting actor, best actor role, and he won it in back-to-back movies for Quentin Tarantino. Only actor under a Quentin Tarantino to do it, and he won it for Inglourious Bastards and Django.
So that's 15 years ago this week that came out. Has Seaburger Movie Unit seen Inglourious Bastards?
Yes, with Brad Pitt.
Okay, so he has seen this one.
Lieutenant Aldo Raines.
That one does not need to be assigned to him yet, or at all, because he's seen it. We'll figure out the next football movie because it's got to be football movies from this week. We got the program. As I learned this from that the series I was watching called The Offer about Albert Ruddy and Robert Evans. I think it's also a lot about Robert Evans. Ruddy's next movie after The Godfather was The Longest Yard. Not the Adam Sandler one, the Burt Reynolds one. Has Seaburger Movie Unit seen that one with the Mean Machine?
No.
Okay, so that might be the next one. We'll figure it out by the end of the week. I think by the end of the week we'll know exactly what it is he's going to be watching. Hey, if you missed anything on Halftime today, and we had some great conversations with Tom Hart from SEC Network, with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation, Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio. They all stopped by. It's all ready to go pretty soon on the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast that pretty much comes out once the show is concluded. Ruskin and Zach are coming up in just a few minutes. Tomorrow we'll have usual Wednesday, Grant Hall, and Clay Henry will come by. I liked how Alyssa, about 12:15, just slipped in the little fact that the only media member that was able to see all of practice was the Hall of Famer Clay Henry. He gets some certain privileges. All right, it's been a great halftime today. For Matt Jones, for Christian Johnston, I'm Phil. Thanks for listening today. That's halftime. Get up, get out, and get better.
This is a public service announcement for hard seltzer lovers.